Light the beam! Light the beam! Light the beam! Light the beam!
Oh, light the beam indeed. Back for another Monday one of these things after the holiday week last week. Good to be back in the room on a Monday night, broadcasting live once again, as always, from the northern hinterlands of San Antonio here, where we find ourselves 23 days away now from the NBA draft, where it feels like the drama of the first two picks is all but handled, but might...
I feel like that's getting longer. 23 days? I thought it was so much sooner.
Oh, God. Well, is my math wrong? There's a
mean,
possibility.
Your math is good, but like I'm just like...
Well, I'll tell you, it's funny you said that because my math originally wasn't good because I was basing it off of last week's episodes, and we didn't do a Monday show last week.
Oh.
So I'd just been copying.
So you lied to our people.
No. I got them right. I got it right last week. I almost got it wrong tonight, but I'm almost positive we are 23 days away from the NBA draft. That voice you hear, as always, is the Cap joining me in the room, as well as the greatness that is LG from parts unknown that always make me nervous to see if we have good connection, especially when LG told me he had to take all of his equipment to New Braunfels for a job this afternoon. LG, do you have me?
Hey.
I'm here.
Spectacular.
Yeah. I'm Q. Everything's working.
Look at that nice little fade job you got going on. Someone get a haircut?
I shaved my own head because that's how I do it.
God, I love y'all so much. That is spectacular. That is so. That's another one of those things where, like, when you compare. Like, there's no way that someone born and raised in backwoods North Texas could have so much in common with a true South Texan. Like, no, actually, just
shave your own head.
Shave your own head.
Just shave it.
Cut your own hair. Shave your own hair. Like, I grew up with the dog clippers, having mine shaved to start every summer.
During my hippie wild days with one sweet Rob Watson, if he's listening in old DMV area. He used to cut his own hair, like crazy style, like Girl Interrupted. And I
what a reference that is.
Right? Is that, I hope I'm right on that. But like, I did it myself too, and my mom just about beat the brakes off me, man.
Yeah, there is a time and a place, I suppose. There is a time and a place when it's you.
She didn't give me that. Are you okay? Is something going on in your life? She's like, you idiot.
I think the only time I ever really got the "you idiot" from my mom when it came to hair is when I used Sun. You remember Sun In?
Oh yeah.
So we went to Six Flags one day and I just sprayed a crap ton of Sun In, and it turned it orange. I looked like Carrot Top.
So is it supposed? Oh, is that supposed to like just UV protection?
No, it's supposed to like naturally bleach it, and it was in the time. This was like late 90s, so everyone had the frosted tips and the puka shell necklaces. And
I had the frosted tips.
Maybe LG can remember this. After my freshman year in high school, when I came home from my dad's with jet black hair, my Mansonite phase.
I don't know if I remember that or not.
Oh man, it was a short-lived phase, but like I'm in my dad's bathroom.
Was this skinny captain back then?
Well, it wasn't as big, Captain.
It was 17-year-old Captain.
That's skinny tall Captain.
It was 15-year-old Captain.
15-year-old.
Thespian Captain.
Thespian. Yes, I was doing my rebellious thespian days.
Yeah. So rebellious.
But like I literally the last day I'm there at my dad's, I planned it out. Got the black hair dye. I'm in the bathroom doing it, and I'm leaving the next morning. And I come out, and my dad just looks at me. He's like, "You MFer." He's like, "Your mom's gonna effing kill me. What did you do?" Because it was just black, just jet. And I had such bleach blonde hair when I was a kid, and my mom tried to bleach it out,
but
she didn't know what to do, so I just bleached my roots. So therefore, at one time, I had my real hair color, bleached hair color, and then jet black. With my skater's butt cut.
I was about to say, I can only imagine what that. The only time we would do stupid bits with our hair for playoff basketball. So it was,
like rallying time.
we were back in black I think that was my junior year, and we all bleached our hair black for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Flash forward, it didn't work. It didn't work. But LG, while we have a good connection, why don't you tell the good people how they can help us out and where to subscribe here?
You can help us out by subscribing to our YouTube channel. Right there on your phone, just scroll up a little bit. There's a subscribe button. Press that button. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the notification bell. That's what we need the most right now is subscribers. If you want to leave a tip, just the tip, but you can dip multiple times. buymeacoffee.com/sportscavelive.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
I like what we're getting.
Full dipping tip here. That sounds like something you can order.
You can double dip your tip.
It feels like something Jerry Jones orders on Harry Hines Boulevard up there in Dallas. Yeah, I saw we're still moving up. What are we up to, like 330 subscribers now?
We're steadily gaining.
Yeah,
steady gains.
I'm doing my part out there, man. We're gonna get there.
Yeah, I love your guerrilla marketing. That just grabbing people. I saw it actually in person. This week. I did.
Nice.
I got to see, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's like, hey, give me your phone. It's like, what the hell? It's like, no, I promise.
You got YouTube? All right, cool.
Exactly.
I was like, I do a podcast. And they're like, oh, really? I'd like to hear it. And I was like, well, give me your phone.
See, this is
Give me your phone. I'm going to do it for you.
This is the great thing. I have long been accused of not being a good self-promoter. So having Cap just commandeer people's phones in public to get subscriptions and having LG becoming a Twitch streamer and all sorts of different, wearing all sorts of different hats in the streaming world now. It's nice to have y'all on board to continue to help build this thing. As always, YouTube subscriptions, absolutely free. They just help us out in the long run. Shouldn't spam up your feed too much there. And as always, shout out to y'all audio listeners as well, because again, the audio numbers are looking quite good as well.
That's why I listen to most of my podcasts in the car on the audio.
See, I like having it's funny because we'll do a little bit of table talk production here because you know what? We've been doing this now. We're starting our second month, third month. We've had 2 full months in the book now. Sitting here, first show of June. We're about to hit those long summer months where it's
going to be a lot of baseball.
Get ready for a lot of baseball talk.
A lot of OTAs.
I figure the E-Bombs corner idea will have a lot more room to spread its legs when it's just summer baseball taking up
more hair dyeing stories,
our attention. But since we are starting our third month here, it's funny you say that because there's, first of all, I do a lot of overthinking when it comes to any of this, and I thank you all for putting up with it because it's a lot of let's try this, and then if it fails the first time, I never want to do it again. But a lot of the podcasts I listen to, it's the same way. I could either watch the video of the podcast or just listen to the audio file, and I'm way more of an audio guy.
Yeah.
I default to, like if it's Bill Simmons, like I don't need to see Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo on a live stream on StreamYard. Like, just give me the audio version.
Like, listen to Rogan, and he's like, "Oh, watch this clip," and he has Jamie pull it up or something. Or
yeah,
whatever.
and see, that's where as we've been
bitching about Pelosi,
as we've been doing the the dual video and audio here.
Yeah,
I feel like most of the content we're putting out there is still
mainly audio
based. There's a couple times I think where you might have you might miss something visual if you don't watch the video.
We'll get to that
version.
whale. We'll get to that whale.
Yeah, the exploding well. The exploding well might just end up being our Lindsey Buckingham. We'll get to Lindsey eventually. But
what's up with that?
What's up with that? I'm saying this at 8:09.
Yeah.
I think we are actually going to have our first installment of E-Bomb's Corner to close it out.
So, you getting them hype?
I don't know if it'll be the whale. Actually, I can say pretty certainly it won't be the whale.
Oh, we gotta leave it.
We'll leave dangling. The whale. We'll leave the whale.
Bait on the hook for you.
A whale's vagina.
As always, St. Diego. As always, we start with a little weekend recap, and it's nice to be back in here on Monday night so it doesn't feel like we're doing a full week recap. But a lot to get to from over the weekend. I mentioned, we're about to get to the summer of baseball exclusive, but before that happened, it just so happened Thursday night, when as my Dallas Stars were being eliminated from the playoffs,
Womp womp.
I was it was one of those, it was a yay boo moment, because we talked about it on the show last Wednesday. I went and saw drive-by truckers. I keep calling them drive-through. Drive-by truckers at Pearl Stable last Thursday night. And
what was your rating on it?
Okay, yeah, because we talked about the 1 star.
What was your rating on it?
Well,
was it a 1 star? I was in the hayloft.
I'll say this. The lady that had the 1 star, potentially based on racial preference, I didn't deal with that, so I think I'm probably fine in that.
They thought you with them.
Well, they always do, brother. Trust me. Until I open my mouth about, it's like I agree on one thing, and then the next 5 they're like, who the hell is this guy? But that's the beauty of it. That's why I love it.
So
the bar lines were never long.
That's always a positive.
The sound could be better, but it's an old stable.
Yeah.
So
you're not going to get a good acoustic.
Sound is about a 3, but the bar never having a line, and there's a lot of bars. It's not a real big venue. I think it was only like 600-700 people. That might have even been overselling it.
Yeah.
But it's a 3.
3?
It's solid. It's nice.
Yeah. It's vintage.
It feels like the kind of venue for the exact place where it's located.
Yeah,
like it's a Pearl venue. So,
and I'm sure they played to the band that they're gonna give. They're not gonna, throw some heavy metal band like it's the old White Rabbit Black Room.
No, I don't think you're getting. No, I don't think you're gonna see Blood Brothers at the Pearl Stable. But it just feels like everything there is a little too nice for me.
You wanted it more rugged. You wanted more hay.
And I know. Look,
I want more hayloft.
I know. I understand.
I got a fever.
It's a weird thing to complain about. Like, it's
hay
too
fever. No.
Okay.
Anyone out there?
That plays.
Out there?
That plays. Sick reference, bro. Now, when I go to a concert, unless it's like if it's a big arena show, I understand. Like if it's Metallica at AT&T.
Oh yeah, it's a performance.
It's a whole deal. I get it.
Yeah.
But most of the shows I go to are more, club shows or smaller venue shows. And for a venue that small, you don't get some of that same intimacy as much, because it just feels real sterile. It feels real pearly.
Well, you get to peel back the curtain on those smaller venues and stuff like that. And I don't think it's as set up or planned.
No, you get, it was, the show itself is intimate. Mm-hmm. But the experience doesn't really feel like it. It would be like the venue's not much bigger than like Green Hall, but seeing them at Green Hall or more of a honky tonk saloon type situation would be better than seeing them in the very nice hoity toity,
Pearl
yeah, like boss engraved bathroom handles, because it's really nice.
So it wasn't like all rednecks and everything like we thought.
That's the problem. Yeah, no, there
was some chinos in there.
You could have used you could have used a little more. You could have used a little more, maybe lower wealth levels when it came to planning out the experience.
Economic level.
It's catered to rich people is what I'm trying to say. So, but it was fun. It was nice. And the yay boo of it, Steph bought the tickets to the show without realizing that it was going to be potentially Stars elimination night. Like, she had bought the tickets couple months in advance.
How can you plan for that one?
You can't, exactly, unless you're a sicko like me who's projecting out every single playoff matchup.
You're all marking all the X's on the map on the calendar to be like, this could happen, this could happen.
Look,
we could do a 2-game break.
It's
this
not
could
far
happen,
off.
This could happen.
She pretty much knows, unless it's someone like the truckers that are just so high on my list. I'm gonna be out on any idea of missing a game.
I caught a little bit of it last week when I suggested, hey, you want to do a Tuesday instead of a Memorial Day Monday? And you're like, well, the Stars are playing.
Well, yeah, I couldn't do that. But it's a yay boo because the Stars played so poorly. I mean, they pulled Otter after, 2 goals in the first 7 minutes. And then the backup comes in, immediately gives up a goal a minute later. And the season's over at that point. And luckily I know some of y'all appreciate the Stars talk, but for a lot of y'all, don't expect to get much more hockey. We're not going to go too in depth on the Panthers Oilers rematch from last year.
Yeah, we'll give you the scores.
That's pretty much
time hockey.
Yeah, it's. I think hockey is now. Hockey will no longer be leading the show. It'll be lightning round, if at all, at this point. Because there's.
I think I heard a universal cheer out there.
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one man who's cheering. Tim. Which one was it? It was Tim McMahon that had. Did y'all catch his comments about hockey in Texas? It was the Hoop Collective podcast, the one he does with Wendy. He just basically went off on how hockey's a newfangled sport in Texas, and it's only hipsters like it. He clearly was just a guy trying to rile people up.
Yeah.
But that's why we didn't even pull the audio to play it. So
he basically said everyone's a bunch of idiots. They don't know football, baseball, or basketball, so they watch hockey.
That is exactly what he said.
Wow.
Yeah, he said that people in Texas care about real sports, and the idiots and hipsters care about hockey.
So he was going after the youth.
That's pretty much. It's old man yelling at.
Old man.
But also to call the Stars newfangled, like they've been there 30 years. Like it's like what
These
is
Dallas newfangled Mavericks?
right?
Luka.
Right, exactly. Like what is the gap? So there wasn't a lot of hockey to watch this weekend.
But with the venue.
Okay,
yeah.
I have one story from you for the venue, because anytime we buy standing room only tickets, as much as that's where I want to be, but I just know there's 50-50 odds I'm going to get into some level of confrontation with somebody because I'm 6'4".
Oh yeah,
it's just a given.
It's
like I
can't see.
I walk into the venue and try to identify the guy that I think is going to give me hell, and then stand as far away from him as possible.
Oh, so
I'm doing like Mac on it. So I'm doing visual pat downs of everybody as I walk in to be like, all right. So usually what I do, that's 1,000%. That's 1,000% what was happening. And it's usually,
if you're 5'2" and a female, I do not want to stand next to you.
That's correct. And to be honest, what usually happens is I try to find someone of similar height. So at least if I'm standing by them, everyone around.
I got a buddy. I got a tall buddy.
Well, and everyone around can obviously see I don't want to stand there because there's 2 tall people. If it's just one tall person, they might.
That's why I always go with the back on the wall type thing. I got to have my back on a wall.
Deer Tick was the opener. Actually, there was another opener, Thelma and the Sleaze, and then Deer Tick. Deer Tick's great. But during most of their set, we stayed towards the back.
Yeah.
But as soon as the truckers go on, we're naturally creeping forward.
I'm going forward.
At that point, you're at a concert.
Yeah,
you bought standing room tickets. I don't know what to tell you, because now I don't feel any responsibility. I gave you reprieve during the openers.
Yeah.
I'm now going to get my money's worth for a ticket that costs way more than it should. I feel like I'm going to get my money's
worth with this story. What happened, man?
So we walk up. No problems for the first few songs. And then a guy behind me gives me he's got a beer can in one hand, and he gives me the kind of tap like this on the back of my shoulder, trying to he's tapping on this one to scoot over a little bit, right? And so I look behind, and there's no one to the he could scoot over.
Oh.
And so I just I give him one of these. I go, yeah, great band, right? Just giving
it's a Cardigan.
Yeah. Just wait. So Steph was wearing a shirt that she had bought at the merch stand, right?
Yeah.
So the next time he taps, I turned to him and I was like, yeah, it's a great shirt, right? They have them at the merch stand. And I'm just like yelling this to him during the concert. So at this point, he takes it upon himself to just walk around me. And instead of standing in front of me, which wouldn't have done a damn thing because he's not tall enough,
Solve the problem.
he stands right in front of Steph.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What
exactly.
a D-bag.
Exactly.
Dude.
So now we're at the level of mental processing where it's
this
like
is mental warfare, man.
I don't want to escalate this, but I'm not going to be disrespected like this either. And I know what you're doing by standing specifically in front of her instead of me. So now there's a level of like, Steph is like, are you not going to stand up for my honor? Like, are you not going to you got to do something about this, right?
Yeah.
And so I gave him the same little
finger
knock
little
over,
finger.
the same little tap over. He doesn't turn around. He doesn't acknowledge or anything. And
Major
so
asshole.
At that point, we just swap. Me and Steph swap places, so now I'm standing right behind him, and he's a good 5 inches. He's not 6 feet tall. He's probably 5'10", 5'11".
Tells people he's 6 feet.
Of course he does. That's what his Tinder profile says, 6'2". Ladies, don't believe it. So at that point, I know every word to every song that they play. They're one of my favorite bands, and I'm normally not the guy that's going to sing loud, even though I know every word of the song. Can you guess what I did the rest of the night until he moved?
Just sing right in his ear.
Buddy, it was like I was serenading him.
Scratchy,
It was,
out of tone.
Oh, yeah. And at this point, I've had a couple double ranchies. I've had a couple double ranch waters with good tequila. I'm feeling like this is...
Feeling froggy.
Let's do something about this now. And so after about 3 songs of me scream singing in his ear, he got the picture.
He got the hint.
Yeah, he didn't want any confrontation.
Why would what possesses someone? That's like driving rules. It's like, no, I can scoot over and go around you if I'm in the middle lane. I get if you're in the left lane where you're supposed to be passing, but someone's gonna get right up on my butt, right up on the ass with the left lane open and the right lane open.
Oh yeah.
And it's like there's no reason to get up. You want me to move when you have 2 open lanes and you're the one speeding.
Well, of course, because that allows them to not have to do anything themselves.
Yeah, that's the equivalent of that one. Yeah.
No, that's a great comp to it because again,
that was good psychological
what do you want
warfare.
me to do? I'm a giant compared to everyone in this room. Like I can't anywhere I go.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in front of somebody. So help me help you.
Here's another good one. You get your fingers all wet, and then you just go, achoo. And you
that's
just
not bad.
spray around the thing and be like, oh, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah,
And
now we're
I was like the hay allergies. The hay is getting to me.
Oh, what do they call that? What is that? Like the that's bio warfare at that point. Biochemical.
That's my go-to move when I'm on a plane and someone sticks their foot like on the side, and it's just like right there. I'm like, achoo! Sprinkles all over the leg.
I'd start tickling their foot.
Yeah, that's a good move too. But then it involves that means you have to touch a foot.
Hey man, hands are washable, as my mom always said when I had to pick up leaves and there's dog poop in there. Another words of wisdom from my mother.
Yeah, I was about to say
She's like, hands are washable.
Doo-doo, feces.
Yeah, that's probably good words of wisdom. So yeah, all in all, it was a 3 night. It was actually, I'll give it a 4 because the band was awesome.
The band was awesome.
And the openers were good as well. I saw our old friend Rich O'Toole actually caught them in Austin. I think it was last night. Got to relive some of the concert because he puts everything out on social. So it was like a video of every song. So I sat there and watched the whole thing.
He's the camera. He's the cell phone guy.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna look through the cell phone and not deal with this concert whatsoever.
You know, the one thing I will say, the person that at least posts it so the rest of us can see it.
Yeah.
That's better than, because 9 times out of 10 when I see someone recording something at a concert, my thought is always, what are you going to do with that? Like, are you right? And like, if you're just keeping it
taken down, doesn't that get taken down on Facebook? Or
no,
is it
not
because
usually.
It's a public forum.
Yeah, because it's your experience. Usually, it's
they got to take your phones first,
right?
To like make it to where like this is not a recording event. I went to a movie and a comedy show like that one time.
Yeah, we did. When I worked at Aztec, we had the Chappelle surprise pop-up shows. Oh, nice. And then they had which is a
put the phone in
massive
the bag.
headache for a venue that doesn't normally do it, and especially in San Antonio, just in Texas, trying to take away someone's property, like a phone. It didn't go over to
I could see
who
so
was
many
it?
Girls. I need my phone.
Oh, it's exactly what like.
My kids
but
at
what
home.
what if an emergency happens? It's like well, you can come check it every 5 minutes. Jack White's band.
Tenacious D.
No,
wait,
not Jack Black. Jack White.
White Stripes.
No, the other one. Help me out, LG.
Seven Nation Army.
No, that's the song. The one he did. The Raconteurs. The Raconteurs did.
Black and Jack White.
They did the phone confiscation as well, but. Stars lost, but I got to see one of my favorite bands. So yay, boo.
Yay.
The rest of the weekend, though, honestly, it was surprisingly full of a lot of college baseball, where obviously the news in our Fairburg is UTSA sweeping the Austin Regional, not even dropping a single game.
Those Roadrunners.
It's pretty awesome,
they out
man.
there to play, man.
It's pretty awesome. So the last time they had been in a regional, and they've been the last 3 years, they have been so close. I think it was 2 years ago. There was a lot of consideration basically saying that they were the first team out of the tournament. Like they were the proverbial first team on the outside of the bubble. And they were, obviously playing in the conference they do. It's pretty hard to get an at-large bid.
Yeah.
You have to have a season like they had this year, the 44-win regular season. So they get the at-large bid. They didn't win their conference tournament, but they get stuck with the number 2 seed Texas Longhorns over in the Austin Regional. And damn it, if they didn't, I mean, it really wasn't the comeback win against Texas the first game, where I think they got down, it was 6-1 before they came back to win 9-7.
That was a hell of a game.
That was a
hell of a game.
That
Braylon
game,
Owens was amazing.
Amazing. And I'll tell you, it's really, really cool, not to get over philosophical about it, but Jeff Traylor talks about UTSA athletics being a front porch of the university. And as UTSA continues to grow, it's the athletic achievements of, the women just had the women's basketball team just had their best year ever under Karen Alston. Yeah. Had a really crappy end to the season, how they played in their conference tournament, but the regular season, it was the most wins they'd ever had. Obviously, we know what Jeff's doing with the football program. The basketball program, it's got some room to grow still, but they hired a dude that seems like he is of the new generation, the new way of college basketball. But UTSA baseball, like I'd said, had been knocking on that door of getting back into the tournament. And all I could think of, what was that, Saturday night? Yeah, Saturday night. As we were watching the UTSA first game at a bar in the neighborhood, and the amount of people that probably hadn't watched a single UTSA baseball game all season.
Oh, they were all into it.
They were so into it because it says UTSA on the jersey.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what else do we have? Do we have the Spurs?
And that's where like going back to. And I know a lot of y'all, like UIW has done amazing things at the 1AA level in football recently. But UTSA is such, like, when he talks about it being the front porch for the university, it's the front porch for the city. It's the back porch for the Spurs are the front porch, like you said. Yeah. But everything else on a national scale, on a national level, outside of the boxing, I mean, all of our world champion boxers we have, shout out to Mario fighting.
Yeah.
Pacquiao coming out of retirement.
Come on, Pacquiao. What the hell are you doing?
Dude, I hope
Getting that payday, man.
Mario hopefully beats the hell. Anyway,
those elections cost money, man.
it's UTSA. It's UTSA athletics that is that second sister to our Spurs here locally, and to see them come back against the number 2 seed Longhorns and watch it communally at the bar as it was happening progressively over the second half of that game, and start to see more and more people even realize what they were watching. And because half the people, 3/4 of the people in that bar didn't even know that was the NCAA tournament. No,
they couldn't name one person on there. And here's the ball buster. To follow it up the next day when we have to play Texas again, and I go up to the bar begrudgingly. I wanted to sit at home, watch my Yankees lose or something like that. But they don't even have it on TV.
Oh, yeah, it was on ESPN Plus.
It was on ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
I mean, we sat there for like 4 innings trying to figure out how to get someone's code to ESPN Plus to get
That's
on
a bunch
TV.
of BS. The university should have done something about that. It should have absolutely been free for San Antonio to watch that.
1,000%. Oh, yeah. And what was it? The ESPN Plus, it was blacked out because of regional. Longhorn TV wasn't even playing it.
See, I got it. I was able to get it on ESPN Plus.
You were able to get?
Yeah.
Do you have like a VPN
no
on your
VPN.
car?
No, it wasn't blacked out.
I think it
wasn't blacked
was.
out.
I think it was.
Maybe it was the Longhorn Network blacked it out. Something blacked it out, or maybe it was the guy at the bar.
I think it was the guy at the bar that was on the verge of blacking out.
ABC should have picked this up. They're an ESPN affiliate. They should have picked this up and let San Antonio watch this.
Yeah, it makes me wonder what
Especially after such a great first game.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Come on, man.
I'd be curious to know more of the broadcasting restrictions or the options, if they even had an option to throw it on CW or some kind of.
It was a money grab. They wanted the subscriptions for ESPN.
And I think it's because ESPN they just have the full broadcast rights.
Yeah.
Well,
the first game against the Longhorns was on the SEC network that not everybody has also.
That's exactly right. So we were lucky at the bar that they had SEC network. And at first, before we realized it was on SEC network, homeboy, my buddy, was streaming it from his phone to just one of the TVs. Then they realized it was on SEC, so they put it on all the TVs.
And see, that's what I was trying to do. I was going through my little cheater app, and I was like, let me just stream this up here. And I couldn't find, man, it was just... That was the disappointment. That was boo on ESPN. They should have let the follow-up game, especially the rematch after the great first one. You got the underdog. You got Goliath versus David. David versus Goliath, however you want to say it. But that was a missed opportunity.
Yeah, and the bigger question to me is, okay, I get it. If UTSA is not the draw you want to put on one of your 5 channels you have, ESPN. It's Texas, exactly.
It's the elimination game.
It's the number 2 seed about to be eliminated. How are you choosing Southern Miss versus Miami over that game? That would be where my questions pop up. Were either one of y'all familiar? Well, how much? I'll ask it this way. How much do y'all know about the UTSA head baseball coach, Pat Hallmark?
That would be 0, sir.
Okay.
Not a lot, but I did shoot every single home game last season. So
you've at least seen him.
Yeah.
You know what he looks
exactly.
like.
I've shot press conferences with him. He's a good dude, yeah.
Seems like a great dude.
He's a great dude, yeah.
He played baseball at Rice. And he was a part of those really, really, really good Rice team, like the Lance Berkman era of when Rice was competing for national championships every year.
We poached him. We got us a good coach.
Yeah,
Jeff Traylor and stuff like that.
When he was I think he actually was at UIW right before UTSA.
Yeah, it was a big old controversy.
It was a huge controversy
Okay,
that's why
I was wondering.
That was why I tried to give our UIW friends some love earlier because.
Hey, go have a few private schools.
You got all the money in the world, but no. When he was at Rice, the football team beat Texas 19-17 in Darrell K. Royal Stadium.
Ooh.
He
Upset.
was literally one of the students hanging on the goalpost as they tore them down. Yes. Yes.
And I'm sure he tells that story proudly.
As he should.
As he should.
As he should.
I carried that thing all the way out the stage.
So he has torn down the goalpost against UT and has now eliminated them to get UTSA their first. No, first of all, the win Saturday night was their first ever win in a regional period.
Oh, yeah.
The last time they had been there was like 2013, and I think they had played a total of like 5 tournament games altogether, had lost all of them.
Yeah.
Up until this past weekend. So Saturday night's the first win, and of course he has the great line in the postgame, well, you know, we didn't come here for 1 win, we came for 3.
Ooh.
Pretty good.
I like it.
But also, you're hyping up your guys. I love it. But that was a record break. Like, that was a record-making win Saturday.
He's sharp sticking.
That's great.
Longhorns,
that mentality.
Man.
And then, of course, now UTSA advancing to their first super regional. They're going to end up playing UCLA, which, if you want to look at rankings, I don't think it's hard to say rankings matter right now when Vanderbilt, number 1 seed, is out.
Yeah.
They lost their regional that they hosted. Texas lost their regional they hosted. We're seeing
my OSU Cowboys took out Georgia.
Yeah, and
even though
before
we lost
they
to Duke again.
lost to Duke. Hey,
Those
that
little Dukies.
You got to love the Dukies. But if you want to look at rankings or how these teams match up, on paper, Texas was a much harder team than UCLA is.
Yeah.
They have much more roster depth, more arms that they can throw at you. Texas does than UCLA, I mean.
Okay.
And the one thing about this UTSA team is, you know, college baseball, when a team like this goes on a run like this, it's usually not because they have, you know, the big bats in the lineup. They have the consistency.
Yeah.
And
they have
you
the
look
defense. They have everything.
Exactly. You look at something like UTSA is top 20 in batting average in the nation. They're also top 20 in fielding percentage. They're top 20 in getting hit by pitch.
Yeah.
So like they're top 20 in getting on base, hitting the ball for average, and not making errors on defense.
So that's a fundamentally sound team. That goes right to the coach.
1,000%.
You know what I'm saying?
I heard him say it was something. I can't remember who it was. I think it was. I watched a lot of Squeeze Play, the ESPN quad box of all the games, and it might have been Chris Burke on there that was talking about it. Where, you know, UTSA is taking that kind of second tier of talent and maximizing those guys.
Yeah.
So without being in the running for any of the, you know, true blue chip talent, they're taking what they have and, like you said, making sure that the fundamental parts of the game they excel at. And then when you do get a random pop or a random guy starts playing like he's a stud,
yeah, like a 5-star.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at their defense.
It's just coaching them up.
It's great coaching. Great coaching.
And that's how Oklahoma State football used to always be, man. Sweet Mike Gundy, 40.
Yeah, before
last year.
Well,
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Before T. Boone Pickens passed. I think I saw someone
T-Boone.
put it out. The winning percentage since T. Boone's passing is where
We're gonna change it this year.
Well, we'll see about that, but we will move on because also Saturday night, as we were watching the game, UTSA UT, other TVs had the final NBA on TNT broadcast potentially ever. As the Pacers eliminated the
Damn
Knicks
you, Bezos.
in 6 games. Yeah, that's right. Bezos, Amazon getting the package, NBC getting back in. But we're going to talk about the Pacers-Thunder matchup in the main segment, but wanted to just talk about the whole way this NBA on TNT and inside the NBA, you know, obviously, you know, the Chuck, Shaq, Kenny, Ernie, the way this is kind of being I guess, treated
like
or talked about.
Like a farewell tour.
Yeah, that was where, like, as we were watching it Saturday, and
like, that was the most important thing, and seemed like during that.
I had it recording at the house, so when we got home, I went back and watched some of it, and Shaq, say, like, we're coming to, we're not to F around and all that. Like, it feels like there was this rush to memorialize it, which I loved. Yeah. Thoroughly enjoyed all of the clips of
the old clips,
all the old clips that are
so many out there.
There's so many, and we could do 3 hours just on a best of those.
That's a good wormhole if you ever want to go down a YouTube wormhole.
That was me basically all day yesterday as everyone was tweeting them out. But it just kind of felt a little. Felt like we were eulogizing something that's not dying. Or is it? And we needed to eulogize it now because, as Bill Simmons suggested, because ESPN's about to F it up.
So are you suggesting that it's going to be not the same? It's like they're not going to let them have the hijinks that they had. They're going to make them talk LeBron. They're going to make them do this, like all the stuff that's supposedly going on behind the scenes of the 4-letter network.
So that's the obvious concern with it is that if the thing that makes this show great, and LG will absolutely agree with this wholeheartly. The thing that makes the Inside the NBA show great is the way it's produced.
Yeah,
and all of the not just talking about the Photoshop bits, pictures they put up and make fun of each other.
I think they let Ernie run the show like a little bit, and that's what I like about it because he reins all these big, egotistical people in.
He's a great conductor.
Yeah.
And outside, so Ernie's doing that at the table with the guys, and then behind the scenes. So a perfect example, they close every show with the EJ's Nito stat of the night.
Yeah.
Unsullied by sponsorship since 1989.
So
that's amazing. The way that segment works, if you watch it closer or you think back to it now as we're talking about it, when they're doing that usually after midnight Atlanta time because it's after the second game of a doubleheader. It's after a West Coast game.
They're starting to get tired because they're all East Coast.
Because they're all East Coast. They're on East Coast time. They've been in that studio for 5 hours from pregame of the first game of the doubleheader to now postgame.
Especially if they're watching two blowouts and they're just like,
and then they're really out
of here.
And then when we get to that final segment, sometimes that final segment is 3 minutes. Sometimes it's 13.
Yeah.
Because even though they're tired and they've been there all day, all of a sudden they get rolling on something or some prop, whatever they're doing, whatever the activity is or whatever the bid is going so well and they're having fun with it. They just keep going and just keep stretching it out.
TV gold. It's gold, Jerry.
And what are you cutting off? Like, oh no, a rerun of Law and Order is going to start late.
Supernatural.
Or Supernatural. or Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 7 for the 13th time.
That I've watched for the 18th time.
Exactly. So they're able, I say it sometimes, content over clock.
Yeah.
Like if the content is good, the show keeps rolling. And that's the production behind the scenes that ESPN just does not, that is just not in their ethos. Yeah. That's not how they operate.
They want
That's
it
not
structured.
How, they want it structured. They want you in. They want you out at a certain time so that they can tag their Michelob Ultra pregame interview sponsored by Toyota.
It's ESPNBet.com. Like we're gonna be just thrusted down that.
See, and that's where so Front Office Sports had this exclusive report that came out this afternoon, and they're saying Inside the NBA will lead ESPN's NBA pregame and halftime programming.
Nice.
So thank God, no more Stephen A. Kendrick and that terrible grouping. And most importantly, there will be an extensive post-game show. Sources tell Front Office Sports.
Wow.
And
damn,
apparently
they're
sources
giving them all the bag. They give them all the love.
Sources tell them that ESPN has no plans to change the show's DNA. And I think that's where...
Wasn't Michael Jordan supposed to join Perk's show?
That's NBA. That's NBC.
That's NBC.
He's doing a special advisor role with NBC. So, that's where... If you believe ESPN at their word...
They've never lied to us.
Well,
They've never lied to us.
Fair point. But
I don't know.
It seems like whereas I referenced Bill Simmons, 10 years or however long it's been now, 15, however long since Simmons was at ESPN, they have at least shown now that they will allow something like McAfee to take over their air. Yeah. We're not going to touch your content. We know you're going to bring people on that are going to criticize ESPN personalities, that are going to say things that are against our company.
Let McAfee run. They've let him say crazy stuff, and he goes and apologizes like that poor girl.
I don't think they haven't shut down a whole lot. Off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So
I never was a watcher of the first podcast
iteration of it. Yeah.
But it seems like he gets a long leash.
Oh, exactly. And that's where ESPN in its history has never shown to allow much of that. But here recently, as
the new regime.
Right. And I'll tell you, I was thinking about it a lot this weekend as I watched their final sign off and them literally dropping the mic. And thinking about the fact that show goes all the way back to 1989, I think the best way I could describe what they were doing before anybody else is a lot of what you get now in the podcast world.
Yeah.
Where it is just, for them, at first it was Ernie, Shaq, and Kenny.
Yeah.
Or Ernie, Chuck, and Kenny before Shaq joined. And it was, the three of them that were basically just doing a podcast.
Yeah, in between
halves or over highlights even.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're getting a highlight of Duncan posterizing Garnett, but Chuck is talking about some offshoot.
Because he's got a funny bit that he wants to say.
Because he's got, exactly.
Or a memory that he's like, you remember this one?
And it feels like it always felt like they were people that at any moment could drop some basketball knowledge on you that you wouldn't get anywhere else. Mm-hmm. But the entertainment was first and foremost.
Yeah.
And, we're going to give you solid basketball analysis, but we want to have fun doing this.
Exactly.
And thinking about it a lot over the weekend, and especially once Shaq joined, that whole show was just always much more of a hangout kind of podcast environment than it was the structured rigidness of what ESPN has always thrown out there for their
the inventor
NBA
of the
coverage.
Podcast era. They could be the.
You look at
Godfathers.
Look at what McAfee does. That's a podcast.
That's the same.
That's
four people talking on the couch over subjects and highlights.
Right, and that's kind of where thinking about it. If ESPN treats them more like they treat McAfee, I don't think there's a whole lot to worry about.
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. So,
but we'll see. Hearing that report makes me a little more confident that ESPN might know.
I really don't think they want to ruin it because they know that they basically got handed gold.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
They always win all the awards and all that. The ESPYs, they win the.
All the TV, all the Emmys.
Yeah, the Emmys and stuff like that. And when TNT matched the offer or even maybe went above Amazon and they still went with Amazon.
Yeah.
I wonder why, Bezos.
It's still.
I don't like that bald headed.
Well, there's more and more reasons every day. Yeah, the other side of it.
Yeah, they got handed it. They got handed the whole package.
And they don't have the leverage in the relationship. Because none of those guys at that desk need to keep doing that show.
Oh, no.
They're continuing to do it because they genuinely enjoy doing it with each other and the money. The money is nice too.
Yeah.
But Chuck tries to retire every single year.
Yeah.
I think last year he said this was going to be
like
his
to travel.
Exactly.
He hates traveling.
So the second ESPN starts to intermingle and get too heavy-handed with it, they'll just say,
"Oh, I see Chuck.
We're done. I'm out."
I see Chuck pulling back the curtain.
1,000%.
And calling out ESPN and be like, "I'm not going to do that, man." Hey,
Again.
Hey.
And ESPN knows that they know that's the guy they have now
that's who they got.
under their banner. So I think the memorializing hopefully is a bit too soon. And then lastly, before we talk a little baseball with your Yankee Minute, I did something yesterday morning that I think I've gotten pretty damn good at.
Ooh.
So first of all,
skills.
Skills. No, not no Chinese throwing star skills. First of all, I think let me acknowledge the nice balance I have personally, being married to someone who travels frequently for work.
All right.
It's nice every now and then to.
A little break.
Have a few days, just.
I used to travel all the time, and like my relationship was never better.
Exactly. And I mean, to the roommate's credit, like we were joking over the weekend. She was talking about her graduating. Her actual graduation was Saturday from grad school, and she was talking about how one of her goals was to always find a job that allowed her to travel often. And this whole time, the whole time in the conversation, I'm sitting there like, yeah, no, that's great.
Got me a keeper.
Yeah, well, and I'm like, yeah, as much as I don't like to have you traveling so much,
I miss you, sweetie.
I'm proud of you for achieving your life. There's a balance there, is what I'm describing.
Man.
There's a balance to achieve. And yesterday morning, I drove Steph to the airport. She's traveling all this week for work, and it was, thank you. It was one of those moments where, like, it's Sunday morning. I'm already thinking about, like, I'm going to watch golf all day. I'm going to watch the Memorial. I've got all this college baseball to watch.
We're going to be free balling it everywhere.
Just lay it.
That's daily for Puma.
Yeah, that is true. There's not much.
There's only a thin layer between him and his boys and you right now.
That's that, and even thinner in these shorts I'm wearing tonight.
I put it out of my mind.
So there's a balance where I can't be too excited.
Yeah.
But she knows that there's some level of excitement there. And so, damn it, if last night, the first night of her being out of town, damn it if I didn't fall asleep on the couch with the controller in my hand and wake up at about 5:30 with a crick in my back that I am still dealing with right now. That's why I'm like, if you like, it's a little,
you're like me with my herniated back right now.
Yeah, we're playing hurt tonight, and I feel like it's a bit of the karma coming back to me quickly for
my $5 IKEA chair probably doesn't help your back either.
Well, I could invest like the Cap has.
This thing swivels.
There is that big leather chair right to your right. You could be sitting in.
I'm worried.
That just screams like 80s power chair.
Now, I'll tell
That's an executive chair my dad had from the early 90s.
That's exactly okay. That feels like the chair I played the space pinball on an old Dell computer.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because you're in your dad's office being like, all right, let's see what games I can download.
What was the snowboard or the skiing game where you're being chased by the Sasquatch or the Yeti?
Yeah, I remember that was a great game. That was a great game. So you fell asleep, and now did you get to watch any sports?
Well, I don't think I watched the specific series you were watching, I would assume.
It was a sad but all right weekend for the Yankees. Put a minute on the clock. So, what do we get in first at bat with Aaron Judge for the LA Dodgers and New York Yankees, the rematch of the World Series? Judge goes yard. And then following the next, Ohtani goes yard. That guy's inhuman.
That's correct.
Yes. And then Freas, our ace, who is no doubtly up there for Cy Young, has a great game. We've only given up one run. We're going through it, and he has his worst inning ever and gives up 6 runs, and we end up losing this first game. Then we get literally slobber knockered the next game. Judge still hits 2 home runs during that game, but then we get our revenge. And we win last night's game where Ohtani goes I think he went 1 for 4. We had his number. And the Yankees are back, and that's our first series loss out of 9. And we come back and we play the Guardians.
Oh,
let's bring it home, boys. Let's get back on that winning track. Oh my God, this guy.
that one game got so bad, Ohtani fell asleep in the dugout.
That's the face of baseball. That's the face of baseball.
Can't even stay awake for.
That's like, are you effing kidding me, man? Like, do you see Judge falling asleep? Oh wait, your bets didn't go through, Ohtani?
Oh, but
do we gotta sit there and make another
so
cover up for
adorable
you?
with him and his dog, and he's so great.
Just take this bat and just.
Yeah, I was thinking about you. I think that was Saturday night's game, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was. We had our third baseman in there throwing our little lobbers and everything like that. So, yeah, that was our worst blowout this year. We've only had 3 other games where we have lost by more than 3 runs.
Oh, that's a fun.
And no more.
Say that one more time.
We've only lost 3 games. Well, minus this.
Yeah.
We've only lost 3 games. That was more than 3 runs by more than 3 runs, and it was no less than 5 runs. So we've never been blown out.
Yeah.
We've never got blown out. until Saturday, where we got.
Well, I guess if you're gonna do it,
we got a Blumpkin.
Yeah,
man.
if you're gonna get absolutely demolished, you might as well just make it as bad as possible.
But we got him back.
Still 5.5 game lead in the division.
Yeah.
My Rangers are about to open a series against the Rays. I think they're not helping you lately.
Do your work.
They
man.
dropped.
You got one job, Rangers, to beat the AL East teams.
Well,
except the Yankees.
Going back last week, they played a series against the Blue Jays midweek, where if you went to all 3 games, you saw 7 runs scored combined between the 2 teams.
Oh my God! No batting.
7
whatsoever.
runs in 3 games.
But what was that? What was the outcome? One out of 2?
Yeah, Texas won 1 out of 2. Yeah, it was like a 2-0 loss, and then a 2-0 win, and then a 3-0 loss or something like that.
Jr.'s doing, man. He's usually a beast. He's usually up there in the lower 300s. Probably got almost in the running for home runs.
Yeah, I'm not sure y'all are going to face a late charge from any of those AL East teams, but we didn't help you against the Blue Jays. We're about to try to help you against the Rays. That series starts tomorrow night. But I saw, because after they only score 4 runs in that Blue Jays series, and then they played the Cardinals this weekend, and first game they won 11-1, and you're like, hey, the bats are back. Simeon went 4 for 4, and all of a sudden maybe his career is not as over as it looks. But then Saturday night, the next game, they get shut out. So,
is there any rumblings like you're going to bring in a bat?
Well, they've called up Ozuna, one of the higher prospects. They're about to get Evan Carter back from the disabled list.
Okay.
Now Seager's back until he gets hurt again, which will be a matter of weeks.
Knock on wood.
They finally benched Adolis.
Oh, wow.
We're at that point, dude. We're at that point.
Man,
we can't
he was
drop
y'all's heart for the
He was the
longest
heart
time.
for the run, and year before that. But the shutout loss. So Sunday they end up winning the rubber match, win 8-1. But the shutout Saturday night, that was the Rangers' 8th shutout loss. That's the most in the AL. It was their 14th game with 4 or less hits.
God.
That's the most in baseball. 14 out of 50 games, they have 4 or less.
You got no prospects in the minors? You got no prospects?
It's a little bare.
Oh, my God.
It was the 27th time allowing 2 runs or less. That's great. Yeah. They only allow 2 runs or less. That's the most in Major League Baseball.
You have 3 pitchers in the top in the ERA. 3 pitchers in the top 25.
Take a guess at what the Rangers' win percentage is in those games where they allow 2 runs or less. What do you think their win percentage is?
Don't tell me it's under 500.
It's better than 500, but
all right, 650.
7 out of 10. They're right at 703 win percent. You should be a 9. They have the lowest team ERA in the majors, and at
least you know your problem.
If you want to feel even worse about it, this is exactly how good the starting pitching has been. So the Rangers starters. This Sean McFarland had this on X. The Rangers starters have allowed 3 or fewer runs in 54 of their 60 games this year.
Oh my God!
So
that's amazing.
54 of the 60 games played, starting pitching allows 3 runs or fewer, and that includes Nathan Eovaldi doing that in 12 of 12 starts this year.
You know who has a lot of prospects?
Eovaldi hasn't allowed over 3 runs. Tyler Mahle has done so in each of his 12 starts. The resurrection project of Patrick Corbin, who the Nationals couldn't wait to get off their payroll, he's done so in each of his 10 starts. DeGrom, surprisingly, has actually allowed more than 3 runs in 1 of his 12.
And he's still a workhorse.
He's still in 11 of his 12. Jack Leiter, who we had so many questions about after seeing a cup of coffee last year, he's done it in 7 of his 9 starts. And even Kumar Rocker, who's about to come back from the injury list, he's done it in 3 of his 5. So
I bet reading those pitching stats just gets you. It just pisses you off.
It's the antithesis of what I grew up with, where the Rangers would mash all summer, would be a top 5 offense, but a bottom 5 pitching staff. It has, for the first time in my life, we are premier elite starting pitching, which first of all has happened maybe 3 times in my lifetime with the Rangers.
Nolan Ryan days.
Well, not even my lifetime. Back then, that was just Nolan.
Yeah, but Nolan, he still was like at a 3.5 ERA. He was just striking out 15 people
no hitting. Yeah. But no, like that 09, that 2010, 2011 with the guys but again, it wasn't big name guys. It was like C.J. Wilson, Derek Holland, Colby Lewis. Like it wasn't. And they would make the big trades for.
Well, let's play let's play a little GM right now. You know who has a lot of.
Cliff Lee was a big trade for him back then in that run.
What about your old meth head guy?
Which one? It's the Texas Rangers.
I feel like the guy who was like MVP and then.
Josh Hamilton. Yeah.
Hamilton. Yeah. Poor Hamilton.
Yeah, he drank too much Red Bull and couldn't catch fly balls anymore. But if I'm playing GM, so the Rangers farm system has some really elite top end, like Sebastian Walcott. Bam Walcott is probably the second, maybe third best infield prospect in the minors right now.
Okay.
But you're not moving off of him to get any short-term help. He's a guy that's as untouchable as anyone in the system. They don't have a lot of those like B-tier prospects.
Yeah.
So they've got some A-tier guys they don't want to trade away. They've got some C-tier guys that aren't really enough.
What's y'all's record right now?
2 games under 500. But
That's not bad.
They're only 4 games behind the division lead, behind the Mariners.
So playing GM, the Yankees need a starter. And we got a lot of prospects. We're trying to keep a third baseman he's hitting almost 300 right now. Araza, even though he pitched. I'm just saying you might have to move off one of these big name pitchers to get an elite hitter immediately, B, some more prospects in the farm league that you can possibly move up because immediately because the people that you have now aren't doing anything.
No, and there's an argument to be made where they're in a rough. I think they're in for Chris Young, the GM, as he looks at we have the best starting pitching so far this season. Our offense is terrible. Okay, so if we mortgage some of that starting pitching to help the offense, how much, where's the break-even point there where we don't hurt the starting pitching too much? Because they also need bullpen help, and that's something that you can pick up with some of those C-tier prospects at the deadline or later in the summer. But to get a bat that would actually come in and help this bat in the top half of this lineup, I think some really tough decisions would have to be made, kind of like you're suggesting.
That's if you want to go for it now. And it seems like the Astros, who always had that division, they're beatable.
Yeah.
They're beatable right now.
Jordan just had his own injury setback.
Yeah.
The Mariners, Cal Raleigh might be the best hitter not named Aaron Judge in the AL this season. I mean, he's doing things that catchers haven't done in a long time offensively. The Mariners, but all that being said, the Rangers are only looking at a 4-game.
Yeah. And we're only a third through the season.
Exactly. So I don't think you're going to see any panic moves yet. But
we're going to start seeing some all-star break, always.
Yeah, and I think there's definitely going to be some decisions made because as long as they're within 5 games of the division lead, they're not going to be a selling team. They're not set up to win now.
Yeah. Especially with that pitching
Exactly.
core. DeGrom's not getting any younger.
Exactly.
Uvalde's not getting any younger.
And the reclamation projects of Molly and Corbin. Yeah. Corbin Burns, those guys are that rocket might run out of fuel tomorrow.
My hopes of it, but I know that if you traded someone to the NL, obviously I'll get off my wishing that the Yankees could get another starter. But you could trade someone to the NL that's trying to do there's gotta be a fit there. So you're not trading in league, you definitely don't want to trade in division. You never want to do that.
Not ideally, no.
Not ideally. And then there's gotta be your soulmate out there.
Yeah, your
your soulmate's gotta be out there somewhere where they got some batting for you, where they can pick up 2 runs, and get some of these wins.
I'm almost at the point of really opening up the baseball trade machine because I think once we get past the NBA draft, the baseball trade market will probably be where I spend most of my daily reading,
looking at numbers,
looking at what could be out there.
And that's 23 days away.
Yeah, 23 days away now from that NBA draft. Well, let's talk a little NBA here in the main segment because we do now. Since the last time we talked, we were waiting to see if the Pacers were going to finish off the Knicks. Indeed, they did. Mm-hmm. So we have our NBA Finals set, a showcase of fresh talent and technically first-time champs.
Yeah, first-time
because
champs.
The Thunder don't claim the Sonics title.
No.
So one of these teams will get the gold patch on the back of the jersey.
Can the Indiana Pacers finally get over the hump? What was it, 1993? Was the last time they were in the finals?
God, has it been that long?
I think it's 1993's the NBA Finals. I want to say so. I think it was the early 90s. Fact check me on that one. But obviously Oklahoma last time they were in, they had all 3, and LeBron's Heat took care of them. The little super team. But this is basically
no. It was only the 2000 NBA Finals, and that was up against Kobe and Shaq and the Lakers.
Oh, 2000.
2000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Way off. Anyway,
I didn't think Reggie and those. This was the tail end of Reggie.
You also had Jermaine O'Neal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jermaine O'Neal, I think, was on that team. I think he was probably second, third year.
Yeah, that was that Larry Bird coach team. Mm-hmm. You still had A lot of those older holdover guys. It actually wasn't. It wasn't Jermaine yet. It was.
He must have been drafted 102.
Yeah, it was still Rick Smits, the great Jalen Rose.
Jalen, that's my man.
Big Smooth Sam Perkins, Chris Mullen, Reggie, and Mark Jackson. It was the last run. Austin Crozier, the Providence own. Jeff Foster, Texas State's own.
Hey,
LG. And high school NBA draft bust Jonathan Bender. That's a name I hadn't seen in a while. Yeah, no, there's a lot of interesting storylines to me, but the big national one is the obvious, like, this
is going to be the worst race.
It's the NBA Finals in Oklahoma City and Indianapolis. And
I mean, they need, like, if they, like, why are you throwing the baby out with the bathwater already?
Right.
You like that old time saying?
That's it's a great idiom, a great Old Testament idiom, straight out of Isaiah.
Let's put some hype in it before we go ahead and crush it. You know what I'm saying? Let's hype it up. Besides being like, this is going to be the lowest rated series in NBA Finals history.
Let's try. Does this get you hyped? Since January 1, the Thunder and Pacers are the two best teams record-wise in the entire NBA.
I'm hyped.
That's hype?
Yeah. They won 68 games. The record's 73, so they were 5 off of the record. So you have an amazing team in Oklahoma.
With the league MVP.
League MVP going against, I would say, hands down, the playoff MVP and Halliburton.
Did you see the video of him not getting the Eastern Conference MVP trophy?
What?
It was who got there? Siakam won it, and it was
you think Siakam deserved it?
I think the only people that will care about
He came on late.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the MVP for the finals.
The Eastern Conference Finals.
Okay, not the whole thing.
Right, not the run so far.
I'll give Siakam the Eastern Conference Finals, but he's the MVP over the playoffs so far, both sides, hands down.
How about the Thunder's historic win differential at home so far? This
It's like 20 points.
It's something ridiculous. They don't play close games at home.
So home is rocking. Home was rocking at Indiana last night. Man, they were getting hyped. They're back on it.
It's like Rick Carlisle said after the game, after they won Saturday night. And this sounds incredibly cheesy, and because it is absolutely cheesy, but there's also a lot of truth in it. Carlisle said, in 49 other states, it's just basketball, but this is Indiana.
Ooh, the Hoosiers,
That's
baby.
a great line.
Hoosiers.
That's also a line of a man who's been wanting to say that for the last 3 years.
This is his second stint in Indiana, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, because it was before he was there.
Was during
Malice in the Palace.
Yeah.
Before he went to Dallas, won the championship with them, and
then came back.
And then came back to Indy.
He's got unfinished business here, man.
Yeah. That sounds pretty hype.
Halliburton versus SGA. You got two young teams that sit there and play hell of a defense. They're going to bang. Like, the one thing I got of yesterday's game is Indiana was just bully balling. They were sitting there just the 50-50 balls. They weren't going to lose.
No, they're junkyard dogs, man.
Yeah, they weren't going to lose.
Guys like Nimhard and McConnell, that's the guy that is getting every rebound at the Y running pickup, but they're doing it in the NBA as undersized point guards
with his knee pads on, his mouth guard in, the glasses, all that kind of good stuff.
Exactly.
Oh, I love it.
How about the fact that Paul George set up all of the moves in motion to get both of these teams to where they are now?
Yeah, but you probably know the more stats on this. Paul George to OKC. What did OKC get?
Well,
I mean, what did Indiana get?
This is where it's interesting, because it's something we've talked about for multiple weeks here is the current timeline, comparing the current timeline the Thunder are on to the current timeline that the Spurs are embarking on of this draft, develop, stay young,
Yeah.
keep a young core. So OKC originally made the Paul George trade they traded him to LA in 2019.
That's OKC.
That was when they got SGA, and the Thunder traded for him originally in 2017.
And that's when they got Halliburton.
So it's when they got the pieces that led to Halliburton. So in 2017,
all the draft picks.
Pacers trade Paul George to the Thunder for Victor Oladipo, a name blast from the past.
Yeah.
Indiana guy, played for the Hoosiers, going to the Pacers made sense. But the other part of that trade,
White.
Domantas Sabonis. There's your white, not Oladipo. Sabonis was a part of that trade that went to Indiana.
Yeah.
And then
Sabonis ended up go to Rockets, right?
To the Kings. When the Kings decided that because the Kings drafted Halliburton.
Yeah.
And the Kings actually drafted Halliburton in the same draft that like the Spurs had a pick, and it's late kind of. I mean, it's not lazy to say that the Spurs could have drafted him, but it was that 2020 draft, and he ended up going right after. I think it was the literal pick right after the Spurs took Devin Vassell. So Vassell was the 11th pick in that draft, and then Halliburton was the Kings' 12th pick.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
we always
12th picks are huge in this series too, because we'll talk about in a minute. Oklahoma City is led by a former 12th overall pick. So Kings draft Halliburton, and then decide that, and this is where the Spurs come in. Kings decide De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Halliburton can't coexist.
Why?
So
that's like, how can you?
I think there's some serious. Neither one of them can play the defense to cover the other.
Oh yeah,
and so your backcourt is just a sieve.
Yeah.
Both of them are extremely ball dominant, especially Fox at that point in his career.
He needed more of a big to do the pick and roll.
Exactly, and that was the Kings' idea of we have this asset in Halliburton, but we need to get bigger. So that's where they trade Halliburton to Indy for Sabonis. Sabonis goes to the Kings. And Sabonis and Fox both play well together. Sabonis becomes an all-star.
Yeah.
Obviously.
They lead the league. They lead the Western Conference, 2 years ago, in wins.
They had a really good year. I think the highest they ended up with that group was third or fourth. I think it was third.
You sure? They were number one for a long time.
Yeah, but they didn't end up number one.
That was when De'Aaron Fox got Clutch Man of the Year.
Right, with Keegan Murray as well. That was, I think it was his rookie year. So Halliburton ends up getting shipped to Indy, and this is where the Oklahoma City aspect of it comes into play, because Oklahoma City now has had Paul George for a couple of years. They have really middling success in the playoffs each year.
And that's after Paul George coming off that horrific leg injury.
Right. And it's Paul George who all of a sudden is telling everybody how much he loves living in Oklahoma City because he really loves fishing and life is great here. But then Oklahoma City says...
That filthy liar.
Yeah. Actually, Paul... You can't get out of the first round. They lost to the Jazz the first year he was there, lost to the Trailblazers in the first round the next year, and then lost to the Rockets in a 7-game series in 2019.
Yeah.
So 2019, Oklahoma City decides, look, we've been eliminated in the first round of the playoffs 3 straight years with Paul George, and 4 straight years if you count the year before he got there.
And that's when you got Kawhi trying to get his buddy Paul George.
That's when you get the trade to the Clippers. So now a young SGA is returned to the Thunder as a part of the Paul George trade, along with some draft picks.
Yeah.
And immediately, as you would expect, the first year without Paul George, they end up that was the year actually where they had the first round loss to the Rockets.
Yeah.
They lose to that one. And then the next 3 years, they missed the playoffs entirely. So
What
this
European
is when
is on that Rockets team that I'm not getting, that I'm forgetting?
well, from back then, I mean, Şengün is the one now.
No, I'm talking like the late 2000s.
But Clint Capella was the big man, Swiss dude. But so they go full tear down, rebuild, and are building around SGA. And this is where guys like Josh Giddey pop up with one of the draft picks from one of these years. And then they win 22 games, followed by 24 games. And then 2 years ago, they won 40 games, which I think is right.
What are we getting at here?
No.
I think 2 years of 20 wins.
I think this is where, as we think about it from the Spurs timeline, you would like to think that where the Thunder were, so the 68 wins this year, 57 wins last year, 40 wins the year before that.
Yeah.
So to support your argument, the Spurs were at 34 wins, I think, this past season.
And that's only because Wemby went down.
Right.
And we went to the tank.
Right. And all of a sudden you have a guy like SGA.
We had 20 wins the year before.
Exactly.
To get Wemby. And then you're telling me with the talent that the OKC has, the best team in the league, the favorites to win, and now they had 40 wins on their third year. So we're coming into our third year with the second pick getting Dylan Harper.
But here's where
De'Aaron Fox.
So now
Stephen Castle.
Now that I've given you a little bit, of rope
45
to work with.
45 doesn't seem too bad, does it?
So that 40 win season they had in 2022.
Yeah.
That was the first year that they had Chet, but Chet was hurt.
Yeah, he was hurt all year.
He was hurt all year. So they could have actually been better at that point.
They could have got to 45?
If they
is what you're saying?
That's what I might be saying. But the other side of that is they hit on – so everyone remembers Chet, at the top of that 2022 draft, it was Paolo first overall, who's been great for the Magic, everything you want out of a number one pick. Then it was Chet, number 2. And then the Rockets still had high picks. They took Jabari Smith Jr. that year.
Yeah.
The 12th pick in that draft is the Oklahoma City's second best player now as we watch them in the finals. That was the Jalen Williams pick.
Yeah, Jalen.
So, again, I think as we think about, like, the Spurs are about to have a draft eerily similar to that 2022 draft that the Thunder had, where they had the second overall pick.
Without the injury.
And then the 14th overall pick. The Thunder had the 12th pick, but we could see the Spurs potentially moving up.
Can we just hear my favorite 3 words? My favorite 3 words?
You're not right because it hasn't played out.
I am right.
I'm providing some support for your argument instead of just telling me, oh, it's going to happen.
I literally said the exact same thing. We want to do the exact same frame that we did. You brought the numbers. You're my numbers man. All right. So you actually confirmed my intuition, my crazy intuition. You confirmed it. Thanks for those coffees. That we are on the same path as Oklahoma City, but with arguably better talent.
Well, that's again.
Arguably,
you're talking about
better talent.
You're talking about a team that has
a horrible argument because SGA is not better than Wemby.
But he's the MVP of the league.
Wemby will give him 3 years.
I completely agree. But right now, as we sit here, he's the MVP of the league.
Well, I'm not saying winning the championship next year. I'm saying 45 wins.
Right.
Get us some playoff experience.
So that's a wash.
And then the year after that, we're serious contenders, which Oklahoma City was serious contenders last year.
That's where.
And then
that's
now
where
they're
I
all
agree
going to be
with you.
champions in the third year. If it's going to be a hell of a series. I'm not going to give it to them.
Sure. No, and they're going to have to. They're going to absolutely have to earn it because, like you mentioned with the Pacers team, they're just junkyard dogs, man. Yeah. And that's what the Thunder are too, with the Lou Dorts, the Caruso.
Let's see what happens, man. Those 50-50 balls. You're gonna see some see some banging. It's gonna be a Larry Flint show down there.
Yeah, I thought you would appreciate as I walked my way through this Thunder rebuild and how they got there, because I was pretty tickled to hear the now Paul George on yet another team that is actually picking third in this draft now with the 76ers. Yeah. Ooh, didn't make the dump button in time.
That was a drop.
Yeah, I can see the path. I'll give you that. I mean, see it. But it also
45 doesn't seem such a far out number.
No, I will still say I bet Vegas doesn't put them.
I bet they put them at 43.
I swear to God, I was gonna say 41. I was right dead 500.
I'm gonna say 43, and I will pick over, and I'm gonna win.
Yeah, we'll do the over unders for sure, because I'm really, really curious. Because as you look at this Thunder team, when they took Jalen Williams 12th overall in that draft, they had no idea he was going to develop into an all-star in 2 years.
And I told you this before the show. The Indianapolis Pacers did the exact same thing. They have nothing but 10, 11, 12 picks, undrafted.
Yeah.
They built this team. They didn't buy it. You know what I'm saying? They created these guys, and they just meshed together. They bought into the philosophy of the coach, Rick Carlisle. And we can't understate I don't know the head coach for Oklahoma City.
Mark Dagno.
The youngin.
Cajun dude.
Yeah. So, and then now if we buy into Mitch Johnson's, post-Pop era now, who's still going to have Pop in his ear, and they buy into it because everybody buys into Pop because in Pop we trust, why can't this be our path?
This
is the path of the Jedi, man.
Now you're getting ridiculous. If Dylan Harper is if he's Cade Cunningham like he looks like, and he does, he absolutely does.
Shout out to Cade this
Wemby
year.
stays healthy,
great.
If Steph Castle continues to develop,
he will.
Of course. There's your three that you can pair up with your SGA. Well, I'm saying to compare to what OKC has. The SGA, Chet, Jalen trio. The Spurs, with still having the De'Aaron Fox and the 14th pick.
Yeah. It can be.
It can be accelerated even faster than it was for Oklahoma City. And that's what I'm saying.
And that's why you say the three little words that I love that is not unheard of. That we can win 45 games, and I would put money on it because I was right. There was a little method in my mind.
You're not right.
I'm like Charlie Day with that board, with that board on the thing, with all the wire, like all the things. Like, here we go. We got Martin Luther over here. We don't know who he is, but he's getting a ton of mail.
This is like an FBI agent in 1970.
Yeah, True Detective. I got everything on the wall.
Yeah, but it's like you predicted 9/11 in 1975, and then when it finally happened, you're like, hey, I told you I was right. I told you, let's still see
gut intuition, man.
Let's still see how this plays out, because you're not right until you're actually right, and nothing has changed.
You don't score until you score.
That's correct. Nothing has changed. I just thought a little additional. Do we have I'm assuming the rooting interest for everyone in the room here is Pacers, because can't root for the Thunder.
Yeah, Pacers.
LG.
Yeah, I'm going for the Pacers. Yeah. I was going for the Knicks just because I wanted to see NBA Finals in Madison Square Garden. But
that would have been maybe next year.
Before we move on from this, the Drew Show's in here just bought us 5 coffees.
Hey, buddy!
He says he wrote a whole paragraph here. SGA has had an easy road defensively in the playoff. Who the hell's guarded him? Luka, please. Anthony Edwards didn't even try. And looked like he was confused in the Western Conference Finals. Can we stop the talk on that loser being the face of the league now? Now the Pacers have Halliburton, Naismith, and Emhart Shepard to put their collective foot in his ass. It's not going to be that easy, all the people calling Thunder in 5. I agree, Drew.
Drew, do you just not like Canadians?
Who does?
You just do not like
blame Canada.
Those beady little eyes and flappy little heads,
and all of the maple syrup and frozen pond hockey.
Yeah.
No, I think
I'm making a killing on bourbon, sneaking it across the border.
There's a lot of truth in that. Like, you look at the the path the Thunder have gone through so far in this playoff.
It's been
run.
a lot easier.
It's clearly it's going to be one of those titles where the league is in this era of transition.
Yeah.
The old generation is aging out. Their teams are still good because they're on them, but they're not able to elevate a team like they used to be able to. Guys like SGA and Halliburton and the next generation, or even Anthony Edwards included in that.
Anthony Edwards is like, that's why I don't think Minnesota's going to be better than us.
Yeah, but SGA wasn't even Minnesota.
I meant better than the Spurs next year, because I think Anthony Edwards is as great as a star as he is. I don't think he elevates people.
But here's the deal. He's still a guy who has led his team to back-to-back Western Conference Finals before the age of 25.
He's an Iverson.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's impressive. He is a mammoth basketball player.
In terms of face
What are we talking about?
In terms of face of the league, look, Jokic wasn't the face of the league when he was the MVP.
He's the face of his horse league.
Exactly. It was just because SGA is the MVP doesn't necessarily anoint him the face of the league. And honestly,
I thought Wemby was the face of the league.
I think a lot of these conversations are pretty week to week to begin with. Like right now, you're hearing people argue who's going to be the new face of the league, SGA or Halliburton, depending on this finals.
LeBron was anointed, he anointed himself, and he went to Cleveland. That was his hometown. That's the only reason why he got anointed the face of the league.
No, the reason he got anointed the face of the league is because he was a 17-year-old kid on Sports Illustrated on the cover. His high school games were shown on ESPN. We all knew him as the face of the league.
Yeah,
it was easily obvious.
Top 5, top 10 player of all time. I'll give it to him. But then he went to big markets. He went to Miami. He went back to Cleveland. As soon as he got in the championship, he left it for the Lakers. To be the face of the league, you got to be in a big market, man. Like, when was the last face of the league not a big market?
Man,
that's a tough one, right?
Work backwards. Who would you? Steph Curry's been the face of the league.
Big market.
Big market. Golden State.
James, big market.
Yeah, obviously LeBron, except for the Cleveland years, but LeBron's just transcendent to this whole conversation.
Tim Duncan was never the face of the league. Kobe.
And that was more by
Dwayne Wade.
Kobe.
Yeah.
You had old buddy Derrick Rose for 1 year in Chicago.
Yeah, and that's a huge market that really needs to be.
And then it was Jordan, Chicago.
That's a good question. No, I think
you need to be in a big market. You need to be in a big city.
Okay, let me ask you this, though. Do you think that will remain true as you look? Because another part of the fact that we're looking at an Oklahoma City, Indiana finals matchup is because the way the CBA is written now, the collective bargaining agreement, because the ability of big market teams to stack up elite, high-end, high-paid talent is much, much more restrictive and more penalizing to their team building
they can get 2 supermaxes on their team, but their bench is going to suffer.
But because of that, you're going to see way more parity like this. You're going to see more small markets that are doing.
We just need the talking heads to get on board and quit being like, this is going to be the worst.
That's what
NBA
kills me
finals.
the most.
And I'm like, man, I was like, let's hype them up. We just went through 20, 30 minutes of great talking lines. Great talking lines, man. You got the underdog stories. We got how these guys crisscross across America to get where they are now. There are storylines. There is gold out there, Jerry. There is gold.
Yeah, I got another Seinfeld reference. That means it's probably about time to close it out with a little lightning round. LG, get us started. Perfect. I think the biggest one, obviously, also it should mention, first game of the finals is Thursday night. Thursday night, game 1 in Oklahoma City. Now, the first, probably the biggest lightning round story that crossed my desk was the death of local celebrity Jonathan. Do we go with
Joss.
He will always be Red Corn.
Yeah, he's John Redcorn, or the leader of the Pawnee Native American from Parks and Rec.
Oh,
he was there. That
was John Redcorn too.
Yeah, that was him.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the band that he had in King of the Hill.
No.
Rest in peace, King. Man, supposedly, so y'all told me more facts about this than I knew.
We just told you what's being reported by my SA.
Let's alleged facts. Alleged facts. From what I heard, it's just he had a beef with his neighbor for 2 years, and it finally escalated to a murder. A murder.
Yeah, it would. Have we seen? Has the guy been? I don't think he's been charged with murder yet. I think they're still saying charges pending, but they're investigating.
So we have a homicide.
Well, I think my assumption would be his argument is there was some level of self-defense involved or something like that, because Joseph.
Oh, Josh.
It's Jonathan Joss.
Josh.
Joss. Joss.
So Joss, his partner, is suggesting it was specifically related to their relationship.
Hate crimes.
Right.
So this is what I didn't know.
But the Bexar County sheriffs are at this point suggesting there's no evidence to support that, and that it was just a dispute between neighbors that escalated into gunshots.
Of course, we can't have a hate crime right to start off Pride Month.
Yeah,
come on now.
God forbid that happen.
Oh, God, it is Pride Month. I forgot.
So Josh's partner was a transgender male. That means a female.
Biological female
that transitioned into a male. And I'm assuming that in this day and age just makes so many people so angry. Oh my God. What other people do just drive my life.
This is one of those moments. This is one of those stories that any rush to play any kind of politics with it, I don't think is going to pay off in the long. Because from reading the reporting, the amount of times the cops had been called to that house, it happened here on the.
Why were they called?
On the south side.
I want to read.
Guy had a lot of red flags over the last few years. That's for sure.
I'm sure there was a couple flags in the yard.
There were a bit of wheels off
that weren't rainbow.
There were a bit of wheels off. I think moments where, from what I was reading in my essay, he would walk up and down the street just randomly yelling, screaming, having some mental health. Breakdown potentially. Yeah. So
he had a mental incident at one of the King of the Hill readings recently. He walked out. He just left.
Oh, that's because they're bringing back the reviving the series.
Yeah,
he did record all his parts for that.
Didn't we lose? Who did we lose? Boomhauer or Gribble or Dale? One of the other.
Yeah,
actors.
we did. We lost.
I think it was Boomhauer. No, the
Dale.
Not Dale.
Rusty Shackelford.
Rusty Shackelford. I still got hair.
It's so great.
No, I thought it was the fat one that Peggy.
Oh. Yeah.
No, I think he's still alive. Isn't that Milton from Office Space?
Yeah, that's Milton.
That's Milton from Office Space.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Luann Platter's dead though.
Sweet
Brittany
Luann.
Murphy.
Yeah, that's Brittany.
That is Brittany.
Well, and Tom Petty's gone.
Damn.
There's a lot of people from this show that are dead.
Can there be did you see that dark side of the Power Rangers? How much death and destruction and mayhem happened to the characters and how they abused them? Anyway, that's on HBO. Could we have one of those of King of the Hill? There's a lot of stuff going on.
Well, and it's just Mike Judge, man. It's just good old Texan Mike Judge
a good guy.
at the helm of everything. I think there's more reporting to come out about this.
We'll keep you up to date.
Yeah, about this shooting.
Yeah, man. All right, hit me, LG. We have a celebration to be had. The Texas Tech's latest softball team have eliminated the 4-time, 8-time, 20-time champs OU Sooners. Go Red Raiders. Go Red Raiders.
Get your guns up, ladies.
I only do guns up for OSU, but I'll do them for you today because I hate the Sooners.
I love the fact that you were living and dying on the wall of third and under tier college sports. Last week it was the distraction of the college golf national championship.
Man, match play, bro.
This is how I know we're doing our first show of June, because you're referencing college softball.
I got an update on it, so I was like, yeah. I got an update that our closer, Luke Weaver, for the Yankees just got
okay, LG, hit me with give me an interstitial.
Can we not get hurt?
I am the danger.
Well, we will just keep it. They say death comes in threes, so we had the news of John Redcorn's passing. Do y'all remember the show Sports Science?
Yes.
Started out on Fox Sports.
I love that
then,
show, man.
Yes, science.
Moved to ESPN.
Yeah.
I think it was always the why does a slider or why does a knuckleball do what it does?
Yeah.
Or explain literally
they
explaining.
did Ngannou's kick, his kick that is almost like getting hit by a car.
I think they even did an episode on one of these international soccer coaches that had kicked all of the players' wives out of the team hotel because he didn't want them having sex before the game. And sports science did. I'm pretty sure.
He's like, did their testosterone go up? But
exactly.
You gotta sit there and monitor them, see if they're like, you know what I'm saying?
Mashing on that thing. No, John Brinkus, the founder and brain behind Emmy award-winning sports science program.
It was great, man. I loved it.
Passed at 54, and it's one of those, obviously, when you see an age that young attached to the name of the deceased, it was not.
Oh man,
it was not a natural.
They showed one.
He had fought depression for a long time.
Oh, that's sad. I didn't know it was like that. Mm-hmm. I thought because I didn't see any cancer report. I was hoping it wasn't something like that, but that's unfortunate, man. And May is Well, it's June now, which means it's Pride Month. But I'm saying, back in May is Mental Health Awareness Month. I got a lot of friends who had to deal with it. Everybody's been affected with it. So if you need someone, call someone.
Okay, time out. Is it possible? We're all friends here. We're all just talking.
This
here.
is a safe zone.
Right.
This is
okay.
a safe zone.
Hear me out. All of these specific, not Pride Month excluded now that we're in Pride, but a mental health month or some of these other months that we have that aren't as creed driven and are more. Is it possible that for some people heightened talk about the struggle for an entire month?
You think it does more damage than good?
Well, I'm just suggesting a lot of
mental health is
he did it right after the whole month that was talking about it, and
I think having
maybe there's some argument to be made that you talk about it too much that it makes you think about it too much.
Makes you think about it.
Right.
But a lot of the times it's because people feel alone. They don't feel like they can talk to anybody. And when you bring awareness to it, it's also saying, you're going through the same thing. It's like when the athletes and stars talk about their breast cancer or something like that. Or the Pride Month coming out being like, you have these feelings too. You're not alone. So you know what I'm saying?
So does a 13-year-old gay kid sitting on the north side right now, is he good? Does he feel so much better about life because the New England Patriots made a post on social media?
I do not buy into monetizing it.
It's just a lot of signaling at this point is what I'm saying. That's all I'm suggesting.
I like to hear people's personal experiences, not an organization that is there to profit, to be like, hey, I made a rainbow flag San Fran hat.
Right.
Buy it.
Right.
I don't like that.
And we'll donate 3% of the proceeds to some
donate all
charity.
The proceeds.
Yeah.
Just donate money.
Just
donate.
I think because obviously now every day is a culture war about something, and with Pride Month starting and all these teams doing, well, this team posted, but this team didn't. All of this back and forth.
Think there's so much more people in the middle of this situation where, I believe, the monetizing of it is disgusting.
Yeah, that's disgusting. And also some of the same companies that monetized 4 years ago aren't monetizing now because it's not good for business. It's not as good for business now. So you never cared in the first place. You're just doing what's best for your investors, and that's shitty. But thinking about like the awareness aspect of it, you know, like having an entire month of mental health awareness probably meant a lot more when we weren't constantly online all day and hurting our mental health while also having all of this awareness that isn't actual. It's all just
that's
signaling.
the chicken and the egg,
Right.
there,
That's kind of where.
But like what it does do when you have those months.
That's why I asked if we were in the trust tree.
Yeah, this is the trust tree.
Okay.
But what it does, in my belief, is it brings it on the forefront, and it also gets people to donate money to actual good places,
Actual organizations that are doing
that can
good.
actually go out there to regular people to help them, you know, and make them feel like they're not alone. Just like the same thing with the Pride Month right now. It's like, yeah, let them have their fun, man. Like, people like it, but they get to go up and down the street, blah, blah, blah. So does Mardi Gras. Are we going to sit there and be like, what is Mardi Gras?
Buddy, I hate to break it to you. A lot of the people that are against Pride Month also don't like the debauchery of Mardi Gras.
Exactly.
It's kind of a similar crowd there.
Like, why do I got to see a bunny on Easter? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not buying into that. Anyway, we're going into the, but like, anyway.
Well, hold on. Third death of the trifecta, because death comes in 3. We had John Redcorn, John Brinkus, and then here locally, the founder of Magnolia's Pancake House dropped dead, apparently.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Mr. Pancake himself, Robert Fleming Jr., died over the weekend as well.
Junior? How old was he?
No word. And he wasn't old.
Oh, man. They just moved the location right next to the Cribby Crib.
That's a staple. So I figured we'd close out the rule of 3 there with a local one.
Hope that's it, man.
On that note, LG, give me an interstitial, please.
Is it a 5 o'clock free crack giveaway?
Let's do a little check-in on European sports, where in the French Open, we have 2 Americans in both the men's and the women's draw that have now made it to the quarterfinals. First time an American man has been in a quarterfinal since like 2003.
That's Nadal's territory.
It was Agassi, yeah. Well, now, luckily, a lot of that.
Is Joker still in it?
Joker's still in it. Joker won. Won today. He took care of Burry, I think it was, the Brit. But we have Tiafoe and Tommy Paul both in the quarters. The unfortunate thing is, so Tommy Paul has to play Alcaraz in the quarter. That's going to be tough. That's
the young Nadal.
Yeah, and Ben Shelton, the other American, played Alcaraz really, really tough, but just didn't have enough in the previous round, in the 4th round. And then Tiafoe is playing an Italian, Musetti. So if Paul gets the Alcaraz upset,
I was like Mussolini,
and Tiafoe, it's all pretty. So there was it was like a 5'10" Italian guy that an American beat in the first round, but his name was Gigante. So that was, the roommate and I were having fun with that. So if both Americans were to win.
I wonder what's Gigante on him, man.
It's a family name. It's a family name. So Americans would have to play each other in the semis, but I think both of the Americans are underdogs in their matchups.
At least give us one.
And then elsewhere,
to lose against Joker.
Yeah, I was about to. Well, it would be Alcaraz. I would love to see Tiafoe versus Alcaraz in the semi. That would be the first time in a long time that an American has made a semi.
Yeah.
Elsewhere in European sports, I actually had a friend that was in Spain for the Formula One race this weekend. Shout out Libby. She was over there on vacation and ended up taking in the race. But also the biggest sporting event that is not an Olympics or a World Cup of any sport, like no
Champions Cup, right?
Champions League.
Yeah.
So the Champions League final
PSG
was this weekend.
Dude, they whooped them around like it was.
It wasn't even. It was over fast. It was PSG up big in the first half. They end up winning.
Is it the oil tycoon on PSG?
They're owned by Qatari royals. Yeah. Yep. Hey, we like the Qatari these days. Don't ask too many questions. Don't ask too many questions.
I ain't getting that damn plane. Let me fly on that.
I just want a little bit of the money. PSG, they end up beating Inter Milan 5-0. Biggest blowout. But the thing that, thinking back to where soccer was 20 years ago when I was in college to where it is now.
Yeah.
We had this Champions League final being played on big CBS with full pregame, postgame coverage.
I think we're going to get more of that because of the World Cup's coming to
next
the
summer. Yeah.
Coming to the States.
So this is like, I think either the third or fourth year they've put the Champions League final on big CBS. It might even be a couple years more than that. But for a quick comparison of anybody wondering, this is global audience numbers. So we're talking everyone in the world, not just us.
Signals.
120 million people watch the Super Bowl every year globally.
Yeah, but they're like a billion watch.
It's 450 million.
450 million?
Watch the Champions League final game every single year.
Oh, my God.
Almost half a billion people.
There's a reason why there's 7 games overseas this year. Goodell he doesn't like that. He doesn't like how football, which he stole the name of, is still way little brother to soccer.
Oh, yeah. No,
to actual
still
football.
To actual
football.
But it's always, it's just a little reminder that the world is a lot bigger out there than sometimes.
And you know what? It can be a little smaller. Hit me.
No, man, shut up.
Go ahead and put that picture up of our little twin over here that is starting a trend. Look at little young Puma.
What?
Look at young Puma right here, man. Got the hat going on, got the stash going on.
All right, hold on.
Oh my God.
Hold on.
It's got the shirt going on. That wiry little stash he's got there.
Okay,
I saw him out in the wild, man. I
could see
that little cute little horn hat.
So the hat looks strikingly similar.
Strikingly.
It almost looks like he's wearing like a rattlesnake skin shirt, which I'm kind of jealous of, to be honest.
He hasn't started the full commitment of just not cutting his hair anymore, which I would have been like, don't cut your hair. I walked by him and whispered in his ear.
Well, I would hope you did, since you're a stranger taking pictures of him at the bar. I wonder his wife or girlfriend sitting there.
Oh, man, he's too young to have a wife.
This guy behind me is taking.
I literally took
pictures.
I literally took the picture. Well, let me see if I can. I was like this. I held it up. I was like, click, 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 click. Even the bartender was like, hey, thanks for making it weird.
Yeah, that was my next question.
No worries.
Yeah, the bartender thinks you're just taking a creep shot. He's like, no, I promise. I'm taking a picture of this man sitting down who looks like my buddy, but only slightly.
You are becoming a fad, sir.
I've had a few doppelgangers over the years. That American curling dude was a good one.
Oh, man. I'm a fat white guy with a beard. I got doppelganger. People keep calling me Jelly Roll. And I'm like, this guy.
Get some art. Get some face art.
It's little face tats and everything. He's got like an elongated face. I got a round face. I'm like, dude, he's like 5'8". I'm like 6'4". I'm like, dude, the only thing we got in common is we're white and we're fat and we have a beard. I was like, get more creative. Get more creative.
That guy, he had a hat that looked like mine. He wore a shirt similar.
Wasn't there a pitcher that looked just like you?
Oh, yeah, there's a couple of those. I think one of them, Mike Clevenger, is one.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah,
that's the one, yeah.
I think he's had some red flags pop up in his life lately that makes that one a little less fun. There's a guy in my neighborhood that someone at the gas station swears is my doppelganger, and I think I know who they're talking about because I know him. And it's like kind of like you said, it's like, okay.
I have one that actually has my government name, and it's not the captain.
Yeah, that's even weirder.
And like with the fucking verbiage on the end, which is the nickname, and I was like, oh my God, I got a doppelganger with the same name. I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah, that feels like more like you have a potential body swap. Yeah, like someone about
body snatchers.
Yeah, someone about to take you out and live your life. LG, give me one final interstitial.
What's happening?
So we have been teasing closing out the shows with a little what we're going to call E-Bombs.
What's happening?
E-Bombs Corner.
Oh, get it.
If you don't remember, E-Bombs World was an old, early website that just had a bunch of random crap on it every day. Like it was kind of like a Reddit before any of us knew what Reddit was.
It's TikTok with the comments.
Yeah, it was a big, it was like World Star, actually, is what it was. It was like,
true.
that. It was about the same time. And so I thought, I got the idea of anytime just an old video or something that reminded me of that era of life, or even a little earlier, anytime that would cross my timeline, we'd save it and do it here to close out shows. So we don't have time for the whale video. It's long.
Oh,
but
the mythical, the never-ending whale video that we will get to, just dangling like a carrot right over your mouth. Ooh, you got to be faster than that.
the state of either Oregon or Washington one time thought it was a good idea to stuff a bunch of dynamite inside of a whale
Oh,
and
don't
blow
give
it
them
up.
any more. No, it's
get to
the
it.
whale video.
But tonight, we're going to close with, as hard as it is to believe, at one point in time, when you got stuck in a video game, you couldn't just Google the answer.
Oh, no, you just played it.
If you didn't,
Oh, you just lose your mind
if you
on
didn't have a friend who had already beat it to tell you how to do it,
it. Yeah.
or you didn't buy the full walkthrough booklet that was usually
Oh, those
as
are RPGs.
thick as a Bible.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
If all of that was not available, you had one last option.
The Game Genie.
Well, Game Genie was just cheating.
That's cheating.
We can't.
What do you think the other things are?
Well, you're asking for help. You're not rewriting code.
Cheating. Don't you know how to do
LG,
it?
do you have this ready? This is what
Oh, my God, that looks so familiar.
you had available to you if you got stuck
guy
in a
you
video
called.
game.
The guy you called.
From the back of the Nintendo Power magazine, there was an ad. And again, back in the day, Nintendo did a
remember
magazine.
this guy, dude. Oh my God, I got busted for calling him once, and I got my ass.
It
whooped.
wasn't cheap.
I got my ass.
It
whooped.
wasn't cheap. Fire this off, LG. This is what it sounded like.
Gameplay. Hi, Nintendo. This is Craig. How can I help you?
Yes. I was want to inquire about The Legend of Zelda. I was wondering how you go about getting the white sword.
Okay. Before I answer that question, can I tell you something?
Yeah.
It's possible that we might be on ABC News, okay? You and I having this conversation?
Right.
Do you object to that?
No problem.
Terrific.
Hey, no
Okay,
problem.
so you're looking for the white sword in Zelda?
Well, I know where it is, but I can't get my hands on it.
Which quest are you in?
The first quest.
Okay, well, you know where it is.
Yeah, right.
All right. What you need to have are 12 heart containers.
Right.
And that's the only thing.
Okay, I've got 12.
Well, then you should be able to get it. You just walk up and you present yourself to the gentleman, and he'll give you the sword.
Okay, yeah.
I love how it's just playing another game.
My hearts. And also, there's a couple of the graves that don't have a genie. And is there any way you can get in there to move them? I can't seem to move them.
No, that's something that'll either
that's Metroid.
It's either left over from the previous quest or it's
Yeah, the
something
game
to
he's
remember
playing.
in the next quest.
Okay, that's great. I appreciate your assistance.
Sure thing.
And all it takes is just 12 hearts, right?
12 heart
Oh
containers.
no, what's it?
Okay, thanks a lot.
You're quite welcome.
I think it's Kid
Sure
Icarus.
thing.
Yeah, I
Bye-bye.
think it's
Kid
Kid
Icarus.
Icarus.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, as you pointed out there, LG, so this super nerd is answering the Nintendo Power hotline, answering questions about original Legend of Zelda while he's playing Kid Icarus without missing a single beat. I mean,
that was one of those games. Zelda was always one I could never get all the way through.
well, and also
That and Zelda 2 was difficult. as
the
shit.
fact that that guy totally wasted his call too, because he called in. And
you had the
you
12 heart
have, like,
containers.
he's like-
Just present yourself to that man.
Yeah, look.
Present yourself to him.
Yeah.
What a weird phrase to
Well,
say.
yeah.
Hey, just go to this man around the corner and present yourself.
Well, it's even better because it's go to this shadowy man in the cave and present yourself, where you can get the white sword if you have the 12
Today in
hearts.
local news in this tunnel, this kid presented himself to a man.
Yeah, usually presenting yourself is what happens
He said
to
he was going to get the water sword or the white sword.
the white sword. Yes, the white sword.
The white
Yeah,
sword. Why is that the best sword, huh? Is there a black sword, huh? I'm just
Yes, and it's way bigger and way more powerful. On that note, LG, get us the hell out of here.
Flick the bing.
Long live Nintendo Power. Long live the Sports Cave.
my
As
God.
always, I appreciate y'all following along. Find me on X at Biggest Puma, on Instagram, biggest.puma. We'll be back Wednesday night.
Hey, I'm on Instagram, Captain 210, the Captain 210. I will work on that Twitch and TikTok crap.
I love the fact that you are our entry to TikTok. We'll build that out. All right, that'll be it for Monday night. Appreciate y'all riding along. Till Wednesday, peace. Be good.
Kids, what do we say about drugs?
Only thugs use drugs. They don't do drugs.